Yes, who said the art world was in trouble? I tell you what, last night it made the art world look like a Christmas tree, really. It was all lit up all over Melbourne. No matter what suburb you went to last night, there were art openings on. Good afternoon and welcome. Gotham City Gossip, the program you've just tuned in to listen to. Roger Taylor with you for about the next, 55 minutes before Jonty comes along. Bruce pushing the buttons and joining me quickly at the microphone to talk about one of the good photographic shows on around town. Paul Harris, great to have you on Gotham City Gossip yet again, Paul.
Well, thanks, Roger. What's the exact nature of this Romper Stomper exhibition?
It's stills photography from the film. This is a guy called Peter Lease, who worked as a stills photographer on Romper Stomper a year and a half ago, and has put up an exhibition of some of his favourite photographs, not necessarily promos for the film, but photographs that he took towards the last 4 weeks of shooting this particular film, and it's on at the Photographers Gallery, Punt Road in South Yarra.
Candid shots?
Very candid shots, yeah. Some... I haven't seen the film, so I can't say whether all the shots are in the film. I think there's only one that would be a publicity still, and that's with all the with the gang doing the Zig Heil signs.
I remember when I was a kid, I went to see The Bible, Dino De Laurentiis film, and had a sign out the front, "You've seen the film, now read the book." You're telling me you've seen the film, now go and see the exhibition.
Well, I think I've seen enough just seeing this particular exhibition. It's actually a very good photographic exhibition. He's as he says in the thing, it took him a long time to come to terms with what the crew was doing, because it was basically made by a crew who hadn't made a major production before. So he was very aware of keeping out of the way until everybody had got into their work routines. And he said that was probably up until the last 4 weeks of shooting that he actually felt confident enough to, sort of get in the way a little bit and start taking the sort of photographs he wanted to.
Yeah, I think there was a deliberate strategy on the part of the producers, also an economic necessity. It was a small budget film. They didn't want to get hardened crews who had sort of like poor work practices or a bit world weary, so they're all relatively inexperienced, and there was a mix of experience but also very eager to learn and put together something against the odds.
I didn't see you down at the Nick Cave launch yesterday afternoon down at the Performing Arts Museum. The Peter Milne's photographs of Nick Cave and the band on the road. I didn't see it, that one.
Well, I was probably off at the Doors night somewhere. I'm wearing my Doors t-shirt. I guess I'm more comfortable at a love-in rather than the cave-in.
There were some friends of yours down there. I thought you were definitely going to be down there.
Which friends were they?
Oh, well, you've got lots of friends. I guess I can't really mention every name on it.
Okay, listen, I'm really overstaying my welcome here. I would urge all art fans to go off and see Romper Stomper and not be put in by the reverse hype which has affected this film to some degree.
What, the stills photography or the actual film?
The general negativity about violence and racism, which ultimately are red herrings. I mean, if you're going to criticise the film, criticise it because you find it's got all kinds of narrative problems, but rather than sort of all this kind of Dorothy Dixer stuff about racism and violence and all the rest of it, when there are M-rated films that are far more violent and racist playing in the city. No one makes any comment about those.
All right, have a look at the film and then have a look at this exhibition down at the Photographers Gallery. It's 344 Punt Road in South Yarra. Well worth a look. Some great photography actually by Peter Lee. He's been working as a stills photographer for quite a few years now, and of course studied in the early years with Carol Jennings, and there's a real Carol Jennings film feel to some of these photographs as well. Of course, Carol Jennings photographed street kids in the 70s in Melbourne. These are photographs of so-called street kids of the 90s in Melbourne, and there is quite a similarity in the feeling of these photographs. An interesting juxtaposition, actually, I guess, two photographic exhibitions about stars in inverted commas, because, these are stills from a film, and putting it in context with the Peter Milne photographs of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds on the road. The stars there. Two very different styles of photography. After having seen the stills from Romper Stomper, I felt that the Nick Cave photographs were quite leaden and very heavy. I don't know whether that was part of the style that Peter Milne wanted to achieve, but I found the Romper Stomper stills far more refreshing to have a look at than the Nick Cave photographs on at the Performing Arts Museum. But I guess if you're interested, you can have a look at both because they're within 5 minutes of each other. And if you're doing around photography,